This is Dr. Derek here with another exercise to keep your body tapped in, tuned up, and turned on. And today we'll be going into the last variation of that founder's pose. Now with this one, we're actually going to be in a little bit of a different position. We're going to be in a split stance. So you pick the leg, we're going to do both legs. You can have your right leg forward and your left leg back, and you want to make sure your left toes are facing your right heels. And so from here, you want to make sure your hips aren't facing outwards. You want to bring them as forward as possible. And then we're going to again go to the hang loose sign, activate our diaphragm. So if you want to do hang loose or you want to reach all the way around to kind of feel the pressure, we're just going to do a breath in. Really make sure we're getting the expansion of the stomach. And then from here, what we're going to do is we're going to bring our arms up with an inhale, thumbs to armpit, tracing our side. Holding here for a few breaths, making sure we don't flare our rib cage out because that'll put extension in our low back and our middle spine, and that'll really cause damage. So we want to make sure we keep our rib cage in neutral. So we're here. On our next breath, we're going to come all the way up above our head. Our hand's going to be interlaced, or one hand is grasping the other. And what we're going to do here is we're going to extend our spine back, starting to stretch our hip flexor on the left side. And then we're going to side bend over our right thigh, really adding a nice stretch to that. Kind of opening up the hip, really working on tight hip flexors that most people struggle with. If you're sitting down a majority of your day, you'll find that your hip flexors get really tight. And then we're going to come back to neutral. We're going to put our hands together. And what we're going to do is we're going to lift off with our back heel. We're going to pretend like there's a nail that we're setting our hands on the wall in front of us, the imaginary wall in front of us. And as we drive our heel down, we're going to leave our hands here, really get a stretch in our lat and elongate our body. So we're going to drive our heel down like there's a stake we're pushing in. And we're really going to elongate our body, and we're going to do that 2 or 3 times. Making sure you don't extend your head as you're looking up. You want a neutral cervical spine or neck. So again, we're going to drive the stake down, really stretch out our torso. Feel it in our lats, feel it in our hip flexors, all the way up into our arms. And then we're going to come back. We're going to go to a neutral position. If you need to shake it off, feel free. What we're going to do now is work on hip hinges from this split stance position. Really good if you're going to go into some kind of lunge work or any kind of athletic movement. What we're going to do again is open up our shirt like we're showing our Superman chest. And then we're going to go into the hip hinge as we bring our hip back and our torso forward. Again, we're engaging the front right hamstrings up into the glutes and focusing on not bringing a lot of tension to our low back. It should be evenly dispersed through all of that tissue. Squeezing our butt cheeks to come back up. And then one more. And we're going to come back to neutral. And for the next portion, I will face you guys because you'll get a better view. So again, we're going to be in the split stance. Hips facing forward. And what we're going to do this time is bring our hands out in front of us. We're going to reach forward, really putting the stretch in that calf, that hamstring, the glute, and even up into the low back. And we're going to rotate over our leg. Focusing on balance. If you feel like you're going to lose your balance, don't go quite so far into rotation. So we're going to come out, we're going to hold for 3 seconds or 2 breaths. And then we're going to come back. And then we're going to do that about 3 more times with just the movement. So 1. Really focusing on that tension being split between your entire body. And then on the 3rd one, we're going to hold again. Hold. And then we're going to come back to neutral. And we're going to step out of it up into just a normal stance. And that is the exercise for today. Make sure you hit both legs because it's really important to stay balanced. And I hope you get some awesome benefit and see some improvement in everything you do from this exercise.